Alright, hello and welcome back to Ashgabat Cats. Let's play that. Did you notice how the notice screen just kind of fades in and fades out? That is a cool little detail that I'm sure most people won't appreciate, but I entirely do. Today we're taking a look at Galmedes. This looks like a shoot 'em up. I'm really hoping that it has a continue function because I kind of want to give it a good try. Let's see how good this can be. Okay, so I've got my turbo button at the ready, so just in case this game allows me to get away with turbo fire, well, when life gives you lemons, you enable turbo fire, and you peel all the... Oh! So, if you hold down when you're on that screen, you can fast forward through the big long intro, and then just get straight into the shoot 'em up action. So, let's see. Okay. Looks like we've got a Wherein sort of thing going on where you've got 3 types of power-ups you can pick up. I see, and then you change your weapon. Alright, so this looks like a turbo fire game, so we've got turbo on. And now we can just focus almost entirely on taking out all the enemies. Let's see. Given the epic cinematic scope and nature of this game, it almost has to be a insert credits to continue shoot 'em up. Now, it's kind of interesting given the... Oh... That was weird. So it actually had a slowdown. Like there's slowdown when that big boss enemy shoots. And that's kind of crazy. Like a lot of the, well, especially okay. So shoot 'em ups can eventually become pretty crazy. Oh, that's weird. When you continue, it remembered how much weapon energy you used to have, and it also starts you with that much weapon energy. Jeez. Oh, okay. Your standard shot is actually surprisingly good, and it's almost kind of a shame when you upgrade, because then you lose out on that sort of nice default shot. I feel like the wide shot, while it does hit a wider area, it doesn't quite kill enemies as quickly. Yeah, that is one thing I am not liking about this game. It feels like your shots don't have a ton of strength. Like a lot of other shoot 'em ups, like typically it's one shot, one kill, at least for the most popcorn of enemies in the very, very beginning. But here it's looking like, nope, you gotta shoot at him at least a little. Even those little mounted turrets, they don't seem to be... Is there always no music, or is it just being especially ominous? Well, I guess that makes this game more realistic when you think about it. No, there was music in the intro, wasn't there? But it makes the game a little bit more realistic when you think about it, because in space, there's no music. I guess, well, that being said, what if every shoot 'em up's music was just like the pilot bringing a boombox into the cockpit and just listening to that the whole time? You know, I actually want to believe that. In fact, I retroactively make that canon. Every time you hear every shoot 'em up's background music is just the fighter listening to his own mixtape in the cockpit. Now we get to argue about which fighter has the best taste in music. And, well, that actually kind of makes sense, because, like, you play multiple shoot 'em ups in the same series, and it's probably the same person in the cockpit, so it's probably the same music. And even if it's not the exact same person, it's the same universe, and so they've got the same music in universe, right? That kind of makes sense. Wow. This shoot 'em up is actually fairly laborious, and because each enemy takes just so many shots to kill, okay, fine, those orange guys actually died in one hit. They had the decency to die in one hit, but every other enemy, it just feels so long. This feels like such a slog. It's like you're sort of trudging uphill in sort of a sea of molasses. Like, you could make progress, and like, you spend enough time, and you're gonna get to the top of that hill, but my gosh, is this even a boss? Because given the speed at which this game is going, I would not be surprised if this just wasn't even a boss. This was just like a sub-boss or something. What if the entire game was just one level? On one hand, that sounds absolutely insane. On the other hand, arcades were a very good venture for people to just experiment with absurd and crazy ideas. Now, I don't know that for a fact, but given the types of arcade games we've come across, that has to be true. Like, some of those arcade games, I feel like would not have been made unless it was a nice venture for experimentation. And again, you never really know what's going to be a big hit. Sometimes you have to kind of vary things around and then find a formula that works and then stick to it religiously. But before that, if you're just like somebody trying to find that formula, well, you might as well improve the variability, widen your search radius, and see what you can find. Okay, I was about to say, this boss, it doesn't feel like there's any progress being made. So this level, it feels like there's no progress being made. Oh my gosh, it's just variations on the same enemy. And I've already put in like, what, 3 credits? 4 credits? Is this the boss? Something tells me no. There's no fanfare, there's no special build-up or anything. I mean, yeah, he's a little bit harder than where we just were. No? It's not the boss. Where's the boss? Show me the boss. Wow, just dig in that, like, just dig in the complete silence of space. Yeah, so if you shoot the mines, they shoot back. And I guess that reminds me of an old Nietzsche quote. When you shoot a mine hard enough, then it shoots you back. No, if you stare into the abyss long enough, the abyss stares back. And, with this kind of quiet, I kind of feel like I am in an abyss. So if nothing else, at least this game kind of captures the true nature of space. Which is to say long, tedious, empty, and frankly a little bit uninteresting. Well, back to killing things. Oh, the music's back. Where was it before? I don't know. Okay, so this actually has music, so I feel like it could be a boss, but like using induction to assume what comes next. This is not a boss, this is just like a sub-boss, and then 5 sub-bosses later then we'll fight the real boss. And then we'll learn that the game was all one level, and it'll say, congratulations, thanks for playing, you used 20 quarters. And you're like, wow, that's like an entire week's allowance. Why would you do this to me, arcade game? And they're like, our developers need money. And you're like, I guess, but like, have you tried panhandling? That might be a little bit more ethical. And they're like, you know what, kid? You're getting awfully talkative for some kid who spent 3 hours on an arcade game today. And I'm like, fine, just keep making the arcade games. Oh, round 1 clear. What are those dots? Are those enemies we killed? Or just things we picked up? Oh. So the first stage was boring. This stage is really cool. Oh, and we're killing enemies in one hit again. Alright, I can dig this. Now the obvious question is, why didn't they start with this stage? But, whatever. We'll let bygones be bygones. Wow, the enemies are just so much weaker. Now, I do notice that I have been picking up power-ups, and I wonder too if, like, maybe we've just hit the sweet spot of, like, power of power-ups to enemy power, where, like, you're strong enough to kill them pretty quickly, but you're not strong enough that you can clear the whole screen. So, like, there's still an element of danger, but it doesn't feel like you're Sisyphus rolling that boulder up that hill. Like, you're actually making real progress here. Well, I mean, again, the game scrolls at its pace, not your pace, so while you are making progress, you're not so much running towards progress, you're walking slowly towards progress. Yeah, I'm not sure if you could have heard that background music. It kind of feels almost like it should be twice as fast. Like, it feels very slow, really, to be background music to what is ostensibly an exciting shoot-'em-up. Now, something does tell me that this must be pre-Wherein, actually, because it doesn't quite have the exciting wow factor of Wherein. And it doesn't quite have, like, the difficulty nailed down either. It's just kind of almost a shoot-'em-up for shoot-'em-up's sake, which is weird, because, well... Okay, looking at the sprite work, it's a little bit rough, a little bit unpolished, which makes me think that style's slightly before Wherein. Like, maybe a holdover from the late 80s, but it probably came out in, like, 1990 or something. But again, we won't know until we check the title screen. Or unless you check Wikipedia, but that's cheating, because I can't check Wikipedia. I would ask you to let me know, but that's obviously impossible. Unless you have a time machine, in which case, please contact me. I have many times in time that I would like to visit, and not quite enough time to do it. Although, the game does kind of take, like, a long time to kick you out of the credit menu. Like, a lot of games, they'll set you right away into the continue, and it's like, hey, quick time limit, you gonna do it? This game's like, no, I know you're gonna put more credits in me. I don't even have to try, and I know you're gonna do it, so... what? I'll make it easy for you. We'll extend the timer a little bit. Wow. This is kind of like that scene from Star Wars when Luke goes through the tunnel to destroy the Death Star with a proton torpedo. Except unlike that, this takes place over the course of like 5 hours. Whereas Luke took like, what, 20 seconds? So it's kind of like if you wanted to know what that moment felt like, except expanded out to like an hour or so, just because. Well, here's your answer. Here is your answer in all of its elongated glory. Oh my gosh. There's no variability in enemies, like both their sprites or their patterns. They just come at you. It's like in Galaga when you fight the level 1 enemies and level 2 enemies, sort of, to an extent. Like, they just kind of come at you, fire at you, but they show no real, like, intelligence. However, the difference between this and Galaga enemies is Galaga, like, once you get to about level 10, it's like those enemies are actually kind of tricky to kill each time. And once you get to level 20, once you get that nice shiny star in the lower left-hand corner, look, it's not really a star, it's more like a shield, but once your levels get so high that the icons actually change, those enemies are pretty smart, and they're using some pretty advanced tactics. These enemies, though, well, I guess the lazily chasing you is new, but it's not exactly good. Yeah, it's just like playing that first level of Galaga, those enemies just over and over and over. There's no craft, there's no care, it's just, it's been a second without enemies, we'll send more enemies. Alright, place your bets. Is this boss or sub-boss? Oh, okay. That was a sub-boss. Hope you didn't lose any money. Well, I kinda wanna play to the boss and see if it gets any better. But I know in my heart of hearts, this is not gonna get any better. But, well, when life gives you arcade games, you play them. That feels kind of fatalistic. It's like, what else are you gonna do? But it's like, sometimes when you're in that seaside town and you need something to do to occupy your day, and you don't want to go on the beach because it's too sandy, but there are arcades everywhere, because of course, it's an arcade town. Then, well, it's a beach town, but to me, it was an arcade town. Then, you go and play arcade games all day. And it's like, it doesn't necessarily matter if, like, the games are good. I mean, usually they are, if you can choose them right. But even if they're not, it's like just being able to spend like a lazy Saturday just kind of feeding credits, beating a game, just to see what'll happen. Not necessarily because you want to beat it, not because you've got any pride on the line, but just because you had an extra $5 in your pocket and you were curious. That's kind of what it's all about. You know, nothing quite rubs the slow pace of this game in like looking at the background and just seeing it like scale so slowly. Like, I mean, I kind of get it, like it's in the distance, so it should scroll slower than the stuff in the foreground, but oh my god. Like, it just scrolls so slowly, and it's like, this game moves very slowly. Do you really want to like emphasize the fact that things are going by slowly? Man, every time I look at the background and I'm like, okay, will there be something that hints that the boss is coming? But nope. No hints, no boss, no nothing. Who made this game? Why did they make this game? What does it say on the bottom? Torrid? So this is a torrid shot. That doesn't quite make sense, but I think we both knew that. Is it supposed to be torrent? Like torrent of fire or torrent of water? But like... I really hope for your sake you just skip to the end and see if it gets interesting, because if you're watching this whole way through and waiting, it's like, when is this going to get interesting? It's like, no, you really should have abandoned hope, ye who entered here, because it doesn't get any more interesting. Well, so I just said it doesn't get any more interesting. That's more or less true, but when you could faintly hear the background music change and you see like a boss come into play, it's like, I gotta admit, I almost felt something. I didn't, because it's not that kind of game, it's not an exciting game, but almost felt something. On the bright side, though, that means we're going to see level 3 sooner than later. Oh, sorry, round 3. You know, round 3 is like fighting game terminology. Like level 3. Oh. So, what now? What can you do in face of my superior intellect? That's a pretty good countermeasure. Kudos to you. Kudos to you. It's kind of weird that you can shoot, like, those energy balls. And so it's like, wait, if you can just shoot the energy balls, doesn't that make them exactly like rockets? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And so why doesn't it just shoot more rockets? I don't know. Oh, wow. So apparently the background music just got tired because it cut out again. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's something to do with MAME, not necessarily the game. But then again, the rest of the game is, like, so lazy, I honestly don't know. Maybe it is the game. Yep, round 2 cleared. I got a bunch of red things. Are those supposed to be enemies killed, or what? Oh, well. Okay, so the music is picked up. Not a lot, but enough. This is like kind of watching a kid, like, learn how to ride a bike. It's like, first, he's on a tricycle, and it's like, okay, he's just learning, like, the physical skills of, like, moving your legs to propel yourself forward. And then next, you get him, like, a less dangerous tricycle. Or a more dangerous tricycle. And it's like, okay, training wheels aren't quite off. Or no, it's like a bike with training wheels. And so it's like, okay, training wheels aren't off per se, but, like, he's on the bigger size bike. He has to kind of keep that in mind. And, well, we're almost, I think we technically reached the point where they took the training wheels off the bike, and it's like, okay, now see this. And it's like, alright, that's quite an escalation. But he's still just riding a bike. Like, where's the excitement? And, yeah, like, it's more exciting, but it's not, like, exciting, you know? Oh, wow. I thought we were in the inside of some sort of space shuttle, and I think we technically are, but now we've got, like, an entire town. It's like one of those colonies from Gundam. So that's... I'm gonna be honest, fighting over, like, an interesting background has actually boosted my spirits a little. Not a lot, but enough. Well, it's kind of like cooking a lobster in water, you know? If you increase the water temperature, just slowly, over time, the lobster doesn't even know he's being cooked. And after a while, the lobster might even fool himself into thinking he enjoys it. There are no parallels to real life in that story. Yep. What's gonna happen? What do you think the boss will be? My bets are inconsequential, but... Alright, I'm gonna set an ultimatum. I can feel the water boiling. You didn't quite escalate it slowly enough. So, if nothing happens in the next, I don't know, let's say minute, then I'm out. I'm just gonna go to the title screen and watch it for a second. Honestly, I don't even really have much to say. That's how boring this game is. Yeah. I mean, I do appreciate the fact that those enemies look like Rickdoms, or Rickdiases, but besides that, I got nothing. Oh, do you think it's the boss? The music hasn't changed, so it's just a sub-boss. Wow. So, every boss, they like their shots, they like their missiles, and that's it. That's all they do. That's all anything ever does in this game. Alright, well, you've lost me. Well, the one good thing about auto-fire is, you, go out of it real quick. Oh boy, better disable auto-fire for this. Okay, good. Oh, bad. And will I make it in time? Is there even a time limit? There we go. Cat. Oh, weird, it doesn't reset your score if you, die. So, I'm number 1 player. I like to think that's because I'm the only person who, played it. Man, it let us. It really let us down, because if you look at that like warning screen in the very beginning, it just looks so cool. But here it's just like, no. Oh wow. Oh, can you charge up? Is that something you could have done this entire time? I'm not gonna quite say that would have made the game better or worth playing, but that might have improved the experience, I guess. But yeah, it's like even the like brief snippets of gameplay don't quite make the game seem entertaining. Like, yeah, they kind of send the message like, okay, this is a shoot 'em up game. So can this one charge? Oh, it can. That's not actually that helpful though. Like the glowing orbs that roll around you, it's like, I mean, it's kind of neat looking and it works as a bomb, but in terms of everyday shots, it's like, no, not really. Well, not every shoot 'em up game is good. I do feel like the bar of entry is lower for shoot 'em up games, so it's easier to make a good shoot 'em up game. But like, the bar isn't exactly on the floor. You do have to kind of pick up your feet. So, on that note, this cat's got a scat.